Can you please explain to us what you mean when you say true Israelites? Okay, so there's two sides to this. There is who are the true Israelites and where are they? And if those are not true Israelites in Israel, then who are they? Those are two different videos. We're going to talk about who is in Israel right now. Just my opinion, of course, but I've got a lot of history to back it up. And just so happens when I started my TikTok journey, I was all about conspiracies. And I did a lot of research and history into the bloodlines, the elite bloodlines that control everything, the puppet masters, okay? So just follow me and it's all gonna make sense. Now, there were people left when Abram was called out of Ur. And these people started to migrate out. Some because they wanted to, some because they were forced because of their child sacrifice and their Luciferian practices. They were not welcome. So they traveled north and they settled in what is modern day Ukraine, between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. But before it was modern day Ukraine, it was called Khazaria, which gets its name from the settlers, the Khazarian Jews. And this is why genealogy in the Bible is so important. So if you know your bloodlines, the Khazars come from Togarmah. Togarmah comes from Gomer, who comes from Japheth, who comes from Noah. Okay, so everyone comes from Adam and Eve, but they really come from the three sons of Noah, which is Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Abram was of the line of Shem. The land of Egypt is otherwise known as Ham and his descendants. And then you have Japheth, which is the nations and the Gentiles. So where they settled in Khazaria, they were really close to Russia. And all of these neighboring countries knew what they were doing with their child sacrifices and drinking of the blood. And Russia came up to them and said, we know what you are doing and you have to stop. You have to declare one of these three religions and follow them. Christianity, Judaism, or Islam. I believe those were the three, if my memory serves me right. Nonetheless, they chose to follow Judaism. But they really didn't follow Judaism. It was kind of like a cover-up. They took on the traits and the ways of Judaism on the outside, but actually had Luciferianism in it. And this continued on for a long time, until Russia got wind of it again and staged a coup. Of course, these people are very smart though. The Khazarian Jews, they owned the Silk Road and they made people pay tolls. So they were also very rich. It was all nobility. Okay, all of these people are all nobles. They have like huge amounts of money. They heard of this coup and they fled, right? And there was a massive exodus to the west. And the Khazarians, kind of being on the run, they had to change their name. And they changed their name to none other than Ashkenaz, which if you go back into the bloodline, Ashkenaz is from Gomer. So Ashkenaz would be the uncle to Khazar. But why take on their name? It was their enemy. And if they were found doing something satanic or terrible, it was going to be labeled the Ashkenazis who did it. So as they are moving westward, they are establishing like colonies from like Germany to France, and they're leaving people along the way to infiltrate the towns and become parts of the community and then whisper back to tell everyone what's going on. And who settles in the town of Frankfurt, Germany? None other than the Rothschilds. Now, where they settled, they set up a bank. And the man who set up that bank had 5 sons who also set up their own banks. And these men were treasurers to the king and to the Vatican. Now, there was a man by the name of Edmund D. Rothschild. And he started to purchase huge, massive amounts of land in about 1899, which led to the establishment of Israel. And it turns out that the Rothschilds actually played a huge role in funding Israel's governmental structures. Now, as these Rothschilds go on, they are continuing to buy up land, to include places in Palestine, in Syria, and in Lebanon, all with the goal of having the state of Israel. If the Ashkenazi Judeans are the ones who funded the state of Israel to be the state of Israel to have any land, both Khazar and Ashkenaz are of the line of Gomer, which is of the line of Japheth, which is technically Gentiles, the nation, because Abram is of the line of Shem. That's where the Israelites come from, is the line of Shem, the true Israelites. Now, I did like a 8 or 10 part series on this a couple of years ago. If you want me to find them and repost them, I will. Probably do it on my secondary account though, because it might get me banned on this one. Or just look into what the Rothschilds tell you about themselves and their ventures in trying to buy land for Israel. In the next video, we'll be discussing true Israelites. They are gathered and scattered. Until next time, God bless.